So after studying all the aspects of hydrogeology, today we'll be talking about the next module of hydrogeology, that is your groundwater quality and its protection. Okay. Now till now that all that you have studied is you have studied the hydrology, you have studied the sub-disciplines of hydrology. Now you have studied, you're already aware about what are the groundwater resources, how can you extract water from those resources, then how the recharge of those groundwater take place, the saturation zone, the Vadose zone, everything is clear to you. Where do you find the water for extraction? In saturation zone or in Vadose zone? Yes, Aram, the guy who studies weekly. Where exactly do you find water for extraction underground? In the saturation zone or in Vadose zone? Come on, I need answers. Aram, am I audible to you? Hello?
Yes,
Yes, then answer the question.
yes,
Okay, you are not
the
audible.
saturation zone.
Yes, exactly. Then why it took you so long to answer? In saturation zone, you always find the entire water table and all the aquifers and all. Everything that holds water and water can be extracted from the saturation zone itself. Even the Vadose zone will be holding water, but in capillary fringes. Okay, so that capillary fringes, you cannot extract water from those. Okay, you cannot take up water from Vadose zone. Only in Vadose zone also, only the roots, only that soil, root zone, only that much layer will be enabling the plants to take up the water from the soil molecules. Okay, so in that regard, now you have an idea about how this recharge of the groundwaters and all take place. So now, once as a geological engineer, you suggest the whatever medium should be provided for extraction, and whatever sources you select for the extraction of water, then the next thing you must be having an idea about is the groundwater quality and its protection. Okay, so we'll be studying a couple of defining strategies, and we'll be setting priorities how to study all these and how to deal with all these topics. So the point of learning this groundwater quality and its protection is to identify the threats and pollution which can be hazardous to groundwater quality. Okay, because ultimately we are making everyone to use that water, to drink that water, or to put into any other kind of use. So ultimately it is being used by us. So it is very important, it is crucially important to protect the groundwater from pollution and to make it, to avoid it being hazardous. Okay, so there are certain common terms which are most commonly used when groundwater pollution is talked about. That is, your first one is your aquifer pollution vulnerability. Okay, this is your what? This is basically the sensitivity or the reactiveness to the contamination. Okay, that means, see, till now you have studied four kind of aquifers. Okay, so all those kind of all those different aquifers, they'll be behaving differently or responding differently to the what, to the contaminants. Okay, like perched aquifer, it is already what is perched aquifer? The pocket and the pocket formations, okay, which are there inside the ground surface. So they are the least they are the aquifers which are least affected by the contaminant. But once the contaminant finds a way into the perched aquifer, then they are the one who will be fastest degraded. एक तो या तो पोल्यूशन होगा ही नहीं उसमें, या फिर होगा तो सबसे जल्दी खराब होने वाला है. Okay, why this is so? Because पर्स्ट एक्विफर की क्वालिटी क्या होती है कि it is surrounded by the impervious layers throughout. Okay, so water cannot be easily extracted from that. But in case if any leaky surface or leaky strata is there, then the contaminant may find what, they may find the they may find a path to trace and to contaminate the entire perched aquifer. Then there is your groundwater pollution hazards. Groundwater pollution hazard is basically, see, all those groundwater. This basically deals with the drinking water guidelines. Okay, so if you are putting that groundwater into domestic use. Okay, so due to those contaminant, even due to less contaminant also, what will happen, they might prove hazardous to the human being or to the one who is making the domestic use of that groundwater. Okay, then there are threats which are posed by hazardous to hazardous objects or hazardous component to the human health due to pollution of these groundwater supply source. Okay, why? Because ultimately, see, again and again we are coming to the same point, that whatever contaminants they get introduced into the groundwater, ultimately the groundwater is being used by us, okay, by human beings or by animals. So what will happen, it will ultimately prove hazardous to the biodiversity. Then how do these aquifers become polluted? The next question everybody's mind will be, all of these aquifers, these are situated inside the ground surface, inside the earth's crust. Then how do they get polluted? They get polluted basically because of the leachates. The most common, you know, most common kind of pollutant is your leachate. Now, this term leachate, you might have heard this particular leachate term any somewhere else also. This is, you have heard this term already while we were studying the disposal of waste. Okay, so whenever, see, this is a very common thing. I'll tell you one good example. In all those dumping yards, okay, wherever the garbage is dumped or composting is done or any kind of garbage disposal or solid waste disposal is done, वहाँ पे क्या होता है, in the nearby vicinity area or even in that particular area dump yard also, you will find what, you will find certain leaky substance, or all of the liquid, this thing, uh, what you'll say, liquid compounds, they'll be leaking from the garbage. They'll start decomposing and they'll be releasing certain fluids, and those fluids all get mixed up, and one hazardous liquid is formed. That is your leachate. Okay, leachate is basically what, the form of sludge which is generated from the entire disposal waste. Okay, so that leachate, it is obviously where it is on the ground surface. So that leachate, since it is liquid in nature, but it is hazardous. Okay, it is also hazardous in nature. So that leachate will what, it will infiltrate into the ground surface, and therefore it will contaminate the land as well as the groundwater resources. Okay, and how this leachate goes over there, this leachate goes over in the ground surface when all these contaminants, they are, all these contaminant loads, they are inadequately disposed of. Okay, so this protection of groundwater is vital because it provides a very vital source of potable water supply. Okay, see, most of the time you might have seen in NCR it is a bit less popular, but in other parts of our country, most of the time the drinking water sources, what is the drinking water source, the underground water itself. People might be having pumps at their home itself. They will be doing the boring operation in their respective homes, and they'll be generating their own water supply. Okay, in NCR, due to low water table and other reasons, it is not permitted, but in most of the parts in India, this is the most common source of what, potable water supply. Then apart from leachate, there are certain other sources like this near the well. What happens whenever you see, even you must have seen near to the well or at certain hand pumps, what happens, there are there are the there is a water lying due to improper drainage conditions or improper disposal of the used water. What happens, the dirty water at the well or near the hand pumps and all, they'll be recirculating into the well or recirculating into the what, into the ground resources itself. Okay, similarly, animal faces also, it is a one common source of pollutants for the same groundwater. Then what could be the protection measures? All these causes, okay, basically all these causes, they could be protected. Okay, they can be protected very easily. So how they can be protected, just a few remedial measures should be carried out, like proper well construction should be there. The nearby vicinity area of the wells or hand pumps, they should be developed. You can provide concrete platforms so that the water may not stagnate over at that place only. Animals should be kept away. Okay, then these all these water resources, they should be located well located. That means they should be located away from the what, from the toilets and public toilets, or even domestic toilets and all. Okay, or dumps and cemeteries, they should not be there near that. See, now this particular image, it shows a very nice depiction of all the urban environment. Okay, all the pollutants, or you can say the polluting resources which are contaminating the water resources. Okay, like we'll start from left to right. The first image is of a dumper which is dumping what, solid waste or landfill. Okay, so it is the solid waste disposal technique by landfilling. It will ultimately do what, the leachate will be released into the ground surface only, and that leachate will be percolated or infiltrated into the groundwater resources. Then industrial, in the second this thing module, you can see the industrial wastewater or the industrial effluents, they are being directly discharged into the river. So in this way, again, the river water is being polluted. So ultimately the groundwater and river water is polluted. Then industrial side drainage, there are certain land disposal. The effluents from industries are also disposed on land. They will again cause the pollution of the groundwater resource. Then leakage of storage tanks. Then in situ sanitations. Okay, then farmyards, at certain farmyards also. Say if you go to any remote areas or in places where these dairies and all are there, so at or at those places, what happens, a lot of dumps will be generated, and a lot of fecal matter will be generated. All those matter will be acting as a pollutant to the groundwater resources. Then sewers, leakage in the sewers. Then water lagoons. Okay, and agricultural intensification also leads to this thing, pollution of the wastewater, groundwater. Okay, how it leads to groundwater, the use of pesticides. Okay, this DDT and all these pesticides, they will be washed away with the water, and they will be directly going into the soil, and from soil it will be leading into the water resources. Okay, so this contamination sources to water supply, this always mostly point out to the urban areas, which is very evident from the fact that most of the pollutants are released from the this thing, urban areas only. Okay, then one very common and quite hazardous thing, uh, this pollutant is your fuel spillage from a tanker. Okay, this fuel spillage, whenever it occurs, it actually leads to a very huge this thing, pollution of the entire ground surface, as well as, and therefore the groundwater resource also. Okay, and also this uh, this fuel spillage, this cannot be just with the tanker only. This particular problem is quite common in the seas also, wherever the oil wells are there, oil extraction, or in the refinery areas. Okay, this oil spillage is a very common problem. Not a common problem, but it is a very huge problem. Okay, arising nearby to the oil wells. Okay, so here you can see a very common list of pollution resources and the type of contaminant they relate. So what are the sources of pollution? Agricultural activity, then in situ sanitation, then oil refineries, then solid waste disposal, dry cleaning, then sludge disposal, leather tanneries. Yeah, leather tanneries also, they create a large number of hazardous waste. So these are all sources, and they release all these respective contaminants, which are chemical contaminants, or hazardous compounds, which are released from these particular respective industries. They all ultimately, either they are disposed into the land, onto the land, or they are disposed this thing by solid landfilling, or they will be disposed into the river water or water bodies. Ultimately they'll be polluting the water resources. Okay, and especially the groundwater resources. Okay, then there are certain environmental bodies also, which are continuously working on protection of the water resources. Okay, so this talking about the vulnerability of aquifers to pollution. these are actually quite vulnerable. I see, in spite of being in the ground surface, situated in the ground surface, also these are quite vulnerable. Why? Because the same the same permeability and the same infiltration which is leading the water to the aquifers while recharge of the groundwater, the same permeability and the same wide structure, or you can say porosity, it will lead the, or it will cause the contaminants also to lead up to the particular aquifers. Okay, so that is the reason why this recharge of the groundwater, if the permeability and all the porosity is beneficial for the recharge also, then the same will be what, it will be harmful due to the fact that contaminant may also lead easily up to the aquifers. Okay, so in that regard, thin Meadows zone and shallow water table, they provide less natural attenuation. Okay, why? Because if the water table is shallow, it will be what, naturally it will be prone to pollution. Okay, और अगर तुम्हारा क्या है, वेडोज जोन की थिकनेस ज़्यादा है और वाटर टेबल शैलो होने की जगह डीप है, तो नेचुरली क्या होगा, it will be less prone to the pollution. Okay, okay, see here in this image, this is a very beautiful depiction of the contaminants leading to the what, to the ground surface, groundwater resources. Okay, so in case if the deep penetration through the strata is there, like hand pumps or bore wells, okay, in those situations the contaminants may not easily lead to the bottom of the what, to the bottom of the strainer well. Okay, or well strainer. But in case of certain shallow water tables and thin Meadows zone area, what will happen, the contaminant can easily lead to the groundwater resources. Okay, so groundwater pollution hazards, there is no specific measurement this thing scale, but they can be assessed by vulnerability assessment tool. Okay, one such example of vulnerability assessment tool is drastic method. Now what is this drastic method? This stands for, this drastic is a abbreviation for depth to water, net recharge, aquifer media, soil media, and topography, impact of weather zone, and hydraulic conductivity. So what are these, all these abbreviated forms? It gives you the abbreviation drastic. So this drastic methodology is basically a GIS based technique. Okay, जहाँ पे हम लोग ये सारे parameters, all these parameters, D for depth to water, then R for net recharge, all these measures are, all these parameters are measured. Okay, एक quantitative और qualitative measurement लेते हैं हम लोग इसका. ठीक, see, you cannot measure the topography, but you can assess the topography. Okay, similarly, you cannot measure the soil media, but you can assess the soil media. Okay, qualitative measurement ले सकते हो, you can analyze it qualitatively. For example, soil media thick hai ya thin hai. Okay, what kind of the nature of the soil media, you can find out. Topography, whether the topography is plain or it is a plateau or it is a hilly area, that can be very easily determined. It cannot be measured, but it can be assessed. Therefore this is known as a vulnerability assessment technique. Okay, so this protection of water resources can be done by employing groundwater protection zone. Based on these assessment techniques, we classify the you know groundwater zones into certain categories. That is zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Zone 1 is your immediate protection zone. So based on the vulnerability, okay, जितना ज़्यादा vulnerable होगा उतना ही जल्दी या उतना ही ज़्यादा उसको क्या required होगा, protection required होगा. Okay, so based on those assessment techniques, we classify these groundwater zones into groundwater protection zone, GPZ. Okay, then there is apart from this groundwater protection zone, you need to whatever, see how you will assess. Once you'll assess the groundwater protection, then once you'll ensure the protection of groundwater resources, then what you can do, it is very important to assess the water quality. How you will go for the quality of water, whether it is good or bad. So if I'll ask you in general, how do you decide the water is good or bad? Just don't consider the technical aspect in a normal terms. Okay, just as a layman, technique. Yes, I need answers from you people. How do you decide that the water is good or bad?
उसमें कुछ होना कंटेमिनेंट्स साफ पानी हो तो गुड कहते हैं.
Okay. So the very first thing that came to your mind was appearance, isn't it? By appearance, you will be deciding that whether the water is good or not. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then,
So,
then secondly, the it should smell good. It should not be smelly. That means the odor. Okay. So these two are the basic things that we will look for. There should be no foul smell in the water, and there should be the water should appear clean or good. Okay. But technically, when we talk about this characteristics of water, there are many characteristics which are further divided into physical, chemical, and biological water quality parameters. So in physical water quality parameters, there are things like turbidity. Okay, then your suspended solids. Okay, suspended solids, turbidity, color, odor, temperature. Okay, these are all your physical water quality parameters. So as per GOI manual, we have already designated certain permissible limits. Okay, there are permissible limits released by Environmental Protection Agency and Government of India manual for our nation as per the studies done in our particular nation and water resources. Okay, so based on those manuals, what we do is we classify the water as fit for use and not fit for use based on these particular parameters. Okay, then there are chemical parameters like there are certain chemical parameters like what, like alkalinity, hardness. Okay, then presence of minerals and metals and salts in it. Okay, then pH is one of the factor. Okay, then dissolved solid is there. So all these are what, these are your chemical water quality parameters. Okay. Okay, then presence of nitrates, presence of nitrites, all these are what, these are your chemical water quality parameter. Okay, so all they have fluoride also, they all have what, they all have certain specific values. Okay, specific permissible values. Okay, and we have to they should meet the general requirements of those permissible value. If it is not so, then that water may not be considered perfectly fit for use. Okay, so that's it. That was about all about the groundwater protection and the water quality. Any doubt in this particular topic? Yes.
no,
No,
so
sir.
Doubts? Should I ask you questions?